All right. Good evening, everyone. So what we are going to do is we are going to turn this our dashboard, this one we made last week. We are going to turn it into something like this. I did this quickly this evening just to have idea of what we'll do. Initially, I said we're going to do something like this. I showed you this last time. I just felt like maybe this one is better. So in order to do that, we are going to create a new sheet. That's where we put the new dashboard. But before we do that, see what you're seeing here, the background, this black, yellow, and stuff. I made them from PowerPoint. So some people make it from I think CorelDRAW or something like that. So mostly I use PowerPoint. So we head over to PowerPoint and create the design from PowerPoint before putting it into Excel, then continue with the arrangement and design. So I'm heading over to PowerPoint now. I already have a presentation. So yes, okay, that one. So in order not to waste a lot of time on it, I created this today as well. But I'll just let you know how I did it. I'm not going to do the whole thing because it might take a whole lot of time. Not really a whole lot of time, but I don't want it to take larger part of our time tonight. So when you want to create something like this, all you need to do is in your new empty slide. So you start with you go to insert, then you start a shape. For this one, let's start with this rectangle. Then you just cover everything for now. So when you cover everything, change the color. So you can see from shape format, then shape fill. Shape fill is the color. So change it to this or this. Let's change this. Then so we are trying to replicate what is here. So let's go ahead. So then you insert another color, another shape rather. And this time around, let's use rectangle top corners. That is this particular one, the corner from the two sides at the top is rounded somehow. So that's why they call it rectangle top corners. So let's put this one here. As you can see, the top corner is rounded. Alright. So this one is blue now. So let's change the fill to black, not too dark. Okay, let's go with number 2. So let's reduce the curve a little bit. You can see my mouse is on this. Okay, let me change it back so that you can see. You see this yellow dot or yellow side? That's where you put your mouse to reduce the curve. Okay, so you can now change it to black. Okay. So let's fit it. Let's align it properly. So from the shape format as well, I think I told you this. We did this in maybe Excel, yeah, in one of the lectures. So you can align center, then align middle. What this align center does is that it will align it based on its side. So like horizontally fitting to the center, then align middle with vertically fitting in the center. There's a little bit difference between align center and let me just put it to the side and see what that one means. So when it's like this and you say align center, you take it to the center. Then align middle will make it vertically. So if I want to reduce this because that's where we have our heading. Then maybe this. So a little bit perfect now. Now let's go ahead and insert this topic or this label or whatever you want to call it, data analytics. So we go back to insert. This time around we are going to insert text box. when you click text box, you can just draw where you want your text box to be. So draw the text box like this. Then type inside data analytics repeat. All right, select everything. Sorry, I keep having WhatsApp messages. I hope you people are not. Okay. All right. So let's highlight everything, put it at the center, bold it, increase the font, so maybe 20. Okay. So let's take it up. So let's go to shape format, align top, then align center. All right. So that's that for that. Now let's create all these tags inside the. But like I said, I will not finish what I'm doing here. I will eventually just copy this and go ahead with it. But I just want to show you how I got there. So we want to go ahead and create this. Let's just so if you want to let's select this and I want to check the shape size. All right, the shape size of this is the height is 1, the width is 1.5. All right, so now let's come back here, then insert a new shape. This time around we are not going to use any of the two we've used, so we are going to use there's one that is every corner is round, unlike this one that only the top corner is round. There's one that's every corner in this one. All right, this one all the corners are round, so let's put this here. All right, remember the size is 1, the height is 1, then this one is 1.5. All right, so this is it. So let's put this one here. Now instead of creating another one, just copy this one and just copy and paste it as many times as possible. Then we adjust this one. So here we have 1, 2, 3 of same size. So let's put 3 together. 3 same size. Then we have one long one that is equal size 1 6.7. I'm checking the size from it. The height is 1, then the width is 6.7. If at any point in time you stop hearing me, just send a message to the WhatsApp. All right, so we are going to change this to 6.7. All right, so what else? So just like this is how I created that. I don't know if I should stop now or maybe still you haven't got it. So let's create one more. Paste there. Right, copy, paste. So instead of doing the design for the three, now when you have when you want to when you have instead of arranging them manually, you can just select everything, then go to shape format again. Please learn how to use this align properly. It helps a lot. It saves you time. So we want to distribute this horizontally. We did this in one of the lectures, I can't remember. So when we distribute horizontally, it means this the ones we've highlighted will be evenly spaced. So let's just do that. So everything is evenly spaced. So it's the same size as it's here that is here. So that's the purpose of doing it. So when you are done with however you want your dashboard to look like, I think I'm not not getting the size correctly. But I just want to show you how to make them. Number one, highlight everything and change the color to black. Oops. Right, so change everything to black. Go to shape format, shape fill. Now the first one we use the second one, so let's use a bit lighter black. Then I want to remove the shape outline. The shape outline is this blue edge you are seeing all over, like by the side, like the border. So I want to remove. Oops. So I want to remove the blue line. So go there, say no fill. Alright. So everything is like this. Then if you want to change it to this, if you notice this one is a little bit, there is some effect on it. So let's select everything again. My mouse is a little bit. Alright. So when you've selected everything, come to shape format again. Now come to shape effect. So when you come to shape effect, you can select anything you want. You can play around with this when you are free. So but let's quickly go to bevel and use the first one. So you can see the size has changed, or the shape rather. Alright, so that's how I got there actually. So like I said, I will not continue to the end so that I will not waste time on it. So that's how I created it. Now when you've created everything, so now let's think of this one like the one we just created. You select all. Alright. You select all first, then Control A to select all. Now when you select all, there's a difference between selecting one of these and selecting, remember the first one, the first yellow that we created, big yellow before putting another black. So that one is different. This black, you can see that one is highlighted. The black that is housing the ties is different from these ones. It's different from this yellow. It's different from where we have our data analytics for beginners. So, but you just select everything. When you select one of the ties, select everything, Control A. And when you selected everything, you come to shape format. You group them. What grouping does is that now that you group them, they have become one, so to say. You can copy now and paste. Unlike if we did not group and we copy and paste, everything will just paste one by one on Excel. But now that we group them, yes, we can now paste it together and copy it together, then take it to our Excel. So let me create a new sheet, then paste it. Oops, it simply did not copy it, right? Let's go back. Alright, Control copy back to Excel, Control V. Alright, so we pasted it now. So let's do 70. Let's go to views, remove the grid lines, then alright, let's change this to 65. 65. Alright. So what else? Now let's go to our dashboard and copy everything. So we are going to select one of the dashboard, copy all, select all rather, then copy, come to our new dashboard, then paste it. See it here. So you can start moving it around and start placing it. But before we do that, let's group everything. That's the visualizations, the charts. Why I want to group them is that to be able to move them together. So if we did not group, you have to be moving like this. You still do that anyway, but moving them, grouping is easier. So let's go back to grouping them. Alright, paste. So everything is selected already. Then you come to shape format, just like we did for the design. You say group. Now when you group, it means everything is together. You can now move it at once. So everything is fitting. Now you can just go back and undo. So you can go back and undo. So now let's start fitting it in. But before we do that, let's remove the background of this. Let's make the chart transparent so that it will fit in on our design, just like what we did here. Just like what we did here. You see, the chart is now transparent. All this white background is not there. So to do that, all right. So to do that, you double click on the chart, then you come to fill. You say no fill. So when you say no fill, it means it is now transparent. But before you do that, you might want to change, if you are not used to the chart at the moment, you might want to change this color to what you prefer. Now let's change this to, what is that? Okay. So these are a month. Let's change it to a little bit gray. Then let's bold it. Let me see if that's what I said, because I've actually forgotten. Okay, gray. Alright. So let's change this to gray as well. Let's change the let's change this to gray as well. Alright. So now let's turn off the view. So select this, turn the fade off, then remove the no line border. What no line border is that this white border that is surrounding it, remove it as well. So you have to click the particular chart before doing all those things. So we've done that. Now come back to the chart, remove grid line. Personally, I don't like grid lines. Grid lines are these horizontal lines. I don't like it. You may like it and it's okay. Remove the grid lines, and let's change the color of this area chart. So you come to this painter, this brush here, then you click it, come to colors. By the way, you can change your visualization, your chart style. So you select, I think there are different ones there. So let's go back to the original one. So we remove the grid line, change the color to, so you have to do no fill again. No fill, no fill. Alright, so let's change this to yellow. That's how we got there. Oh, this thing changed. Let's make it bold. Alright, so we've done for that. Another thing you can do is, before you make everything like this, you might want to arrange everything first. So what I plan to do is, our slicer will be here. This particular slicer will be here. This is where I plan to put the slicer. Very soon you see how to format slicer. Formatting slicer is a little bit not straightforward, but we'll get there. Right. The second slicer is, I plan to put it here. So what you are seeing now is what I call the challenge of Microsoft Excel. When you are doing visualization of Excel, these are the little challenges. All right, let's put this. Okay, where did we put it? Let's put something. this, what I copied is even different from what I'm doing. The first background. Let's go edit it. There's no time to go back. Okay. I think what I copied is different from. Sorry guys, sorry, let me just confirm this thing very well. So that I'll create it, so that when we create it, something that is nice. Let's not create something bad. This is what I used. This thing is quite different from what we copied. So right there. Or is it the same? Okay, it's the same thing. So let's buy it. So this one will be here. And show that one. Okay. Alright. So let's put these sliders here. Yeah. So let's go ahead now and start removing the background. Alright. So let's remove it. So remember I told you double click, then you say no fill, then no line. Then come to this first one, remove grid line, then click on the labels, come to home page, change it to gray, change the other one to gray, change everything to gray actually, then change this to gray, then hold this one, reduce this to 12. Alright, then let's change the color to let's be consistent with the yellow we're using. Alright. Normally the good thing is if we were doing this on Power BI, we would have selected this, then come here and say this is, we call it format painter. So when you click this, then you see my mouse, that the brush is attached to my mouse. It's saying that I've copied the format and I want to apply that format to the next, to any other chart that I select. And normally in Power BI, the same design that you've done to this will just upload to others. But in Excel, I don't know, it's not applying everything just like this. So we have to do it for the whole visuals. But if this were to be Power BI, you just do one, then you copy the format, the editing and everything, then you apply it to others. So let's quickly go ahead with this and say no fill, no line, then no grid line. Select this, make it gray, select this, make it gray, select this, is coming up. So no fill, no line, no grid line, color is yellow. Then this is gray, this is also gray, this is also gray, code. Alright, so we can reduce this as well. Okay, let's go this. Alright, then let's go ahead with others. No fill, no line, no grid line. I don't know, personally I don't like grid line. If you like it, you can always leave it. So this gray, gray, reduce the font to 12. Alright, this one, no fill, no line, gray, gold, 12. So this one we call it legend. So you can also remove the legend if you don't want, but whenever you are using this is a donut chart, it is either you use the legend or you use data label. Let me show you what that means. Now you see these colors, there's no way to tell which one belongs to, I think these are let me like this. These are our, so these are our sales by sellers. Now there's no way to know if this is Bonner Boy or this is Olamide if we remove this legend. So when you remove, some people don't like the legend, so they'll rather use data label. Now this is what it is. You remove the legend, you now put data label. Now your data label is showing, is because this thing is black, you can now go ahead to data label, format, and change the color to whatever you want. But in this case, let's just remove the data label and use the legend. So the legend is going to be the same color we've been using. Then if you want to bold it, fine. Now let's just remove let's reduce the size so that it should be like this. So let's go back to our 1765. Alright, so let's go ahead with this of click, no fill, no lines, no grid line, color is yellow. Okay, so let's change the labels to gray, gold, 12. Please learn to be consistent with your coding. Very, very good. It's not like it is compulsory to use same color for everything, but for instance, your headings, your title names, all those things. Otherwise, your dashboard, like an amateur's dashboard. Alright, we forgot to change this to yeah. Okay, so we just have few more to do. No fill, no grid line. Gray, gray. Then the title is gray, gold. Remember it's 12. Alright, what else? Okay. So no fill, no fill. The pie chart is just like donut. So the same thing I told you about pie chart is still the same thing with this one. So you can, so for this we can actually remove this like this. Otherwise, people still see them clearly. Okay, so now we are done with this, with the first chart. These ones, they are meant for our KPIs, just like in this place you see the total cost, the total sales. It will change depending on the filter we apply. So this is what those places are meant for. So this one too, this one will change based on, anyway, let's get there. So wetin happen now? Okay, Excel can be very funny actually. All right, this what we have here before. Okay. Now what okay, so now we need to calculate the cost, and in Power BI we call it card visualization, but there's nothing called card visualization in Excel, so you have to create it manually with let's just create it manually with some techniques. So what you will do is you will need to create, or you will need to reference to a pivot table. I hope you guys have not forgotten what a pivot table is. Remember in the second, or in the last lecture, we created these pivot tables, and it is from these pivot tables that we created all these charts. Then yes, so in order to have something like this, which will be the sales profit, you have to create another pivot table. Normally you can reference to if we add the profit, the total cost. Like for instance, this is the total cost, but this one is based on month, so let's not use this. If anything changes here, it might affect it. So let's just create a new pivot table in which I've done here. So what happened here is that this pivot table is just so there's nothing spectacular in the pivot tables. I just brought out the cost, which is this, the sales price, which is this, which is the second one, and the profit, which is the third one. So that's just it. So we reference to this to create those three KPIs. All right. So now what we'll do is back to now to create a card, or what I'll call a card on Excel. You insert a text box. Remember, we inserted text box in PowerPoint when we wanted to create this data analytics for beginners. So now what you will do is you can also create a text box here. Remember, Excel, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, all those stuff, they are Microsoft tools. So the interface or everything is kind of the same thing. So also Power BI is a Microsoft tool. So when you learn Power BI, it is easier to learn for people who are transitioning from Excel. So let's go to insert, then look for, okay, our text box is. Now bring your text box here, draw it out. So these are text box. Now normally people just type in text box, but you can use formula to reference a particular cell inside this place. Now what you will do is don't type the equal to inside the text box, it will not work. So just as it is already selected, come to your formula bar. You see this place is still selected. Please, it is very, very important. If you type the equal to sign inside the text box, it will not work. For instance, if you say it is equal to h2, so just use as a test. It does not it will not reference h2. So you have to come to your formula bar to type that h2, for instance, if you needed to reference to h2. But in this case, we are not referencing h2. Sorry, I just need to keep checking my WhatsApp message in case somebody drops a message for me. All right. All right. So you come to your formula bar. All right. Yeah, formula bar. Then you type the equal to sign. Now, what we want to reference to is not on this sheet, so we are going to our pivot tables to bring this. In the first lecture, I remember I told you when you want to reference to a cell, you can easily click the particular cell. But in this case, don't do it. just type the cell name out instead of clicking. Please, there's a reason for that. So instead of clicking this now, this one will represent our cost. Instead of clicking this, just reference to the cell name, which is this is I-19. So the pivot table is already selected. This thing you are seeing is the name of this table, so don't get confused. So just select I-19 and click OK. So you see that the figure in I-19 here, 1951, is now Alright, so let's format this. So go to shape format, shape fill, go to no fill, then let's change the text fill. The text fill is the color of the figure inside. So let's proceed with our usual color. Then let's bold it. Let's increase it to maybe 24. Okay, 24 is okay. Then center. Yeah. So let me reduce it a little bit because I still want to have something at the top. So alright. Now instead of creating for everything, what you need to do now is copy this and paste it twice. So this one here, this one here. So now instead of referencing to I-19, now we reference to, remember this one will now be J-19 for sales, then K-19 for profit. I don't know if it is clear. I hope it's clear. So this one will now change it to, instead of I-19, we change it to K-19. Okay. See the figure has changed. Don't worry about the formatting now. Then the other one is, okay, this one, what did we use? We used K here. Should we? Okay, we should have used J. K is for the profit, J is for the price. So this, let's go back to this page and change this to, this one is K. Sorry, that's wrong. K-19. This one should be J-19, not K-19. Alright. So let's format these two. Now you can just copy, you can select rather, then copy the format, paste it. Copy the format again, paste it. But you just apply everything. I don't know why this one is not giving us the Naira sign. Okay, maybe it's easier. This one is okay. So now what we want to do is, at the top we want to have the label. For instance, whoever is saying this does not know what this figure stands for. So this is cost. So let's get another okay, let's just copy this actually. Let's copy this and put it at the top. Alright. So this one now, remember we are not referencing to any formula now. So just double click and delete whatever is here. Then type, this one is our cost. This one does not need formula. Now let's copy this. Copy, paste twice. So this one here, another one here. So let's change this to sales. Then let's change this to profit. Yes. But it's still not, there's a little bit. Oh, why is this one like this? Why is the Naira sign at the front? So this is for sales. Let's go and show it. Sales, whatever. Why is it at the front? So this one is sales price. So let's see what we can do. So let's go to sales price, value editing, number format. Okay. Alright. So what happened there is that I click, maybe that particular one was just like that. You know, there we have in Microsoft they have the Do, Yoruba, Hausa, instead of having Nigeria, they just have those things there. So I just normally select the first one I see. I don't have space like this. So the one I selected before was showing the Naira standard. I don't know which tried to do that. All right. So that one will reflect. It should reflect on our chart now. Nice. So let's paste this. Now select this. Select this. Select this. Let's reduce the font. Let's change it to yeah, gray. Then let's go to shape format, align top. All right. So when we have this, okay, let's remove the shape filler as well. So no fill, everything is okay. Let's do the same thing for this. Shape fill, no fill. Then let's align this to bottom. All right. So we are doing well. Now what I did here for this one, what I did here is that I just felt like let's do it. When you select, okay, this is the dashboard, the everything about the dashboard. Now when you select Australia, for instance, this is the best selling product in Australia, and this is the sales for that product. So when you select Canada, for instance, the best selling product in Canada is wash, and this is the price. So when you select Italy, the best selling product is storage, but that's the category they use for it. So I just make this to, it's just something I come up with. Okay, let's do something like this. So that's what we'll do here, and it's very simple. So what we'll do is we'll create another pivot table. That's the limitation of Excel. Anytime you want to create a new visualization, you cannot create multiple charts from one particular pivot table. So you have to, if you need 15 charts, you need to create 15 pivot tables. Anyway, so why we need to create a new chart, which a new pivot table which I've created here. This one is just the sum of the, it's very straightforward. This one is the product with the profits. So I just put the profit there, and I sorted it from largest to smallest. So I now reference to the number one. So what is happening is that anytime we apply the filter or the sliders, remember what sliders are? Sliders are these things. Or in the case of this one, sliders are these things. So anytime we apply this filter, it will change the value in the pivot table. So whatever value that is here is what will reflect in the dashboard. So for instance, remember storage devices is the number one. So if you go to the dashboard, it's the second one. I created a lot of dashboard. I was trying to prepare for the lecture. So now I've cleared the filter. So let's go back to our pivot table. You see that it's now back to normal. The number one, the highest product with profit is camera. So then storage device and so on. So whatever filter we apply in the dashboard, okay, whatever filter we apply here, we reflect in the pivot table, and when it reflects in the pivot table, it will now bring it back here. So that's how I came up with this. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. I just needed to explain the concept to you before we proceed. Okay, this one we forgot to up the data label. See, it's showing. So now we are going to, I've already created the pivot table. So we want to reference to this particular cell, which is cell E20. So now go back to your dashboard and remember how we happened here. Let me know what's happening again. That is. when it becomes too large for the whole thing, you know, so when it's too large, it will not show because that's what it seems. So you be mindful of your fonts font size so that it will not at any point in time not be too large. All right. So okay, we want to create another one. So remember what we do is come to the insert, then you insert the text. That's how to create card, visual card on Excel. You insert text, then reference to the text, reference to the cell inside the text. So again, for the second time, I'm telling you, don't type the equal to inside the text box. Type it in the formula bar. So equal to. So we are going to our pivot table equal to this cell. So don't click it, please. So when it's there, just press E20. E20 is the cell name. So press enter. So it's there. Let's copy this same format. So you can copy this and put it here. So the size is too big. Let's reduce it to 20. Alright. So just like what we have here, profit, let's copy this and put it here. But this time around, we want to reference to another cell. So this place is going to be empty. So delete everything inside. Come to the formula bar. So type equal to. Come to your pivot table. So you know this is the value we picked. So you have to pick the corresponding product. So instead, so just pick this is D20. I hope you know under D and under 20. So D20. Alright. So just copy this format and paste it. So that's how I did what you saw in the other chart. Now whenever we filter, it will work. But now if you filter, now it will not okay. Alright, I've created the relationship. I was going to tell you that normally if you are just creating this from the scratch, it will not filter. You need to go and create the relationship between your filter, between your slicer rather, and your pivot table. You know, I just created this pivot table. I shouldn't have done that, but I created it today, and I needed to create relationship between this filter, between these slicers and those tables. Otherwise, this these slicers would not have filtered all these things. Alright, how to do that? Remember, we did it in the last class. When you select a slicer, this thing comes up, otherwise it's not there. You see, it's stopped at the top. So when you select a slicer, you see the slicer settings on there. You see report connection. Report connection is where you now say, okay, with this slicer, you now check the corresponding charts you want these slicers to affect. So in the case of this one, the two charts I just created, I think they are pivot table 1 and I think 2. I don't remember this thing. Alright, so that's it. So you have to do the same for all the slicers. Now to edit the slicers to fit in to how we want, you know, is normally you cannot not this one I was telling you that you double click, you see all fields, it does not work with slicer. There's nothing like you like double click 10 times, it does not change anything. So how to filter how to design a slicer rather. Normally there is the you see what we call slicer style there. So there's always a follow come designs, just like the pivot table. When you create them, you can always change the color to however you want. But then sometimes it does not fit into your dashboard, so you have to create something like the one I created here. So this is what we are going to create, how we created this. So there are different ones. So what you will do is you select any of them, So just assume I've not created these two. I created these two actually. So just assume I've not created two. So you right click on one, you say duplicate. So when you say duplicate, just name it to whatever you want. Let's call it default. I hope I get the spelling of default. Default slicer. Yeah. So now you see, there are lots of options that you can design. So the first one is O slicer. That's self-explanatory. The O slicer. And when you click the O slicer, you click format. Then you now design it however you want. Now format the font, which is the size of the variables. That is, maybe it is whiskey or Davido, or maybe it's location, which is Canada, Nigeria, anything. So the font, let's change it to 8. The Okay, there's no need to bold it. Let's go to border and say none. We don't want it to have border. Let's go to fill. Now this is where you put the fill. The fill should be black. The fill should be the color of, depending on how you want it, the fill should be the color of your background, because you cannot up the background like we did with all these shots. So just put, I think we use the second. Let's use this. So then you go ahead to say okay. Then you come to header. Header is, of course, the heading of this particular one. Now will be the location. This location is called the header, then the seller is called the header. So let's go ahead and format that one as well. So okay, what should we do with this? Okay, let's make this one 10 because it's the header. Let's make it bold. Let's change the field to gray. No, let's leave the field to no color. Let's leave the field to no color. Yeah. Then the font color should be gray. This is what I wanted to change to gray. Sometimes it confuses me a lot. So then let's change the selected item. The selected item is it's all this blue stuff. So let's change that one to yellow. So let's change this. So you just change the field to yellow. Alright. I think that should be everything for this. You can decide to go ahead with the rest, but for now this is okay. So you can set it as default actually. Depends on you. So now the duplicate has been created. This is the duplicate. Now when you select your slicer, anyone, you can now select the duplicate. So okay, the location is showing black. So let's go ahead and modify it. So click it again, modify. Modify is edit. So when you modify, come to the whole slicer, click format, click on, no sorry, the heading rather. Come to header, click format. I thought we changed this to gray. Yeah. So it's now gray. So if not selected, it will look like this. So let's just shape it in. Then now we don't need to format the rest. Just click this, come to your slicer, select that one that you just created, or you can just right click and make it your set as default. So if you set it as default, I think it will affect the new slicers that you create. For the old ones, you still have to go ahead and when you click the slicer, you select it. When you click this one, you select it. So that's how we got here. Now everything is looking okay, except that this January we are not seeing everything. So click the slicer again. Under the slicer setting, change the column from 1 to maybe 2 or 3. Alright. Okay, we are still not seeing everything. You can go ahead and modify. Click O slicer again, format it. Let's change the size to, I think we did this. Change it to 8 already. So everything is now smaller, fitting. So later we can still come around and make it this size to still fit it in. Then this one too. Okay, we are seeing all the countries already, so there's no point to edit this. We are seeing everything here. Whiskey. So I think that's almost everything. There's little difference between this and this now. Okay, we have these four. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and change this to. Let's change the column of these two to two. No, let's reduce it rather to two. And let's reduce this to three. That we can have them like this. Okay, you can just select the two and say align. I think that's. Can we do that with this? I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, align top. Right, so everything is cool. Okay, another thing I did in the last one is let's insert line just to design it. Come to where is it? Insert. Come on. Okay, shape. All right, let's insert a line here. All right, so let's make this line yellow. Then copy the line, paste it. We have so bring one here. All these things are not necessary. It's just trying to prove if you see you may or you may not. So what else? Okay, so let's change this to now if you want to fit everything into your to the screen, select one, then control A to select all. Now this control A has selected all the charts, including the sliders, including the background that we brought from PowerPoint. It has selected everything. Now group everything together under shape format. Group everything together, everything. And when you group everything, it makes it one. So you can now edit it together. Yes. So you can now make it fit in. Just have to Excel is just too stressful for me personally. Alright. Our filter has meshed up. So when you group everything together, you can now ungroup or let's make this if need be. Okay, then you can now select it and click on group them. So when you group, you can now edit, select each one and edit it. Alright. Anyway, I think so far this this dashboard is not bad now. You can now play with it and see and make recommendations to your that okay. Seems generally sales is bad in Canada. However, so you might even want to check for Australia, then Boy. So what this thing is showing you not just the sales of or the overview of Australia alone, but Burna Boy in Australia. So you can mix filter together. Then you can even show it for camera. So it will drill down more and more. So that's that about the dashboard. That's how you can use the dashboard. You can check Australia for Lamide, you can check for Wizkid and so on. But one thing I like to do, I like to tell people is that this filter is not, you should not connect your filter to all the dashboard. For instance, these sellers, so we're expecting anytime we click Burna Boy, we expect all the dashboard to change. But for instance, look at this particular one. You don't need, I don't think it is necessary for this filter or this slicer to filter this dashboard, because when you select Burna Boy here and it filters this dashboard or this chart, it will not show only Burna Boy, it will show only one cycle. So sometimes you need to when you create a slicer, you don't need to slice that particular chart that come from the same slicer. I don't know if you are getting me. This slicer, this seller slicer, and this sales by seller, they came from the same category. So it is very, very unnecessary to allow this filter to slice this. So when we do this one mostly you see it did not change. I filtered it that way so that this filter should not affect this one. Remember, you can always do that through the report connection. So when you click your slicer, come to slicer, report connection, and say, see, cost by seller, anything related to the sellers, I've unchecked it. So the likes of this, the likes of this, then which one is the other one? I think there are three by sellers, or anything related to sellers anyway. I uncheck it from the seller slicer. Same thing with location. Okay, we don't have any chart for location. Same thing with month. The month, I also make sure that it does not filter. For instance, this one, I don't know if I did it for this yet. You see, it does not filter this, but it filters this. So I think that one is actually entirely up to you, however you see it fit. But let's say let me just show you something to make it clearer. So let's say this one is connected to this, all these filters. So report connection. Let me connect it to all the sellers. You see that the moment I connected it to the sellers, it's even showing one information that okay, this the following filter controls is connected to this report because they belong to the same hierarchy. What they mean by hierarchy is same category. So sellers, you are filtering sellers with sellers chart, so it really does not make sense. But let me show you. Let me show you like that. So now I've connected it. So when I click it, see it's only showing for Burna Boy. Since I've selected Burna Boy, it's showing Burna Boy, showing Burna Boy. Then this one is showing one. So what's the essence of doing this? To me, it does not make any sense. So when you click Davido, it will change. So it does not give any special information. So it is highly unnecessary to me. So whenever you have related category from your slicers, when your category is connected, definitely it will be connected. So you don't need to filter any chart that comes from the same category that your slicer comes from. I hope that one is clear. Again, it's up to you. I feel like it's okay, it's okay. So let me go and remove this post by sellers. So anything related to sellers, I'll just remove them. Sales by sellers, profit by sellers. So this is why it is always good to name your pivots. Remember the name you are seeing here is the name we gave the pivot tables when we were creating them. Otherwise, it will be showing table one just like this, pivot table two, and you won't know which one is which. So Now we can now see when you filter this one stays, this one stays, this one stays, the rest will change. So I think this is where we'll stop our lecture for tonight. This is where we'll stop our lecture for tonight. There are a lot of things you can do with this dashboard. You can decide to change the color. Okay. There's something I show you. When you come to page layouts, Excel, even Power BI does this. You can always change the color of the design. So when you come to page layout, you see something under the themes, you see color. These are different colors. So when you click this, you see everything will change. Everything depending on, okay, I think this one looks nice actually. So this one will change. All these things. So you can decide to change the view and everything like that. So depends on you. So I hope you guys from now on when you create a dashboard, because normally some people when they create the same page layout that we just did affected this dashboard as well. So it will even affect your pivot tables if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So now I hope when you create a dashboard, this dashboard, some people, I've seen people created, some people they created this dashboard and they felt like they did something cool, which is cool by the way. But then if you want to prove to, if you want to be a pro, if you want to separate yourself from beginners, you need to create dashboard like this. Not necessarily this design, but you do something more unique, more mature, something presentable. So again, we can do the same thing in Power BI. In fact, when we transition to Power BI, you people will know, you would wish, you would even ask me why did we learn Excel at all? But everything has its own advantage. So visualizations on Power BI is far better as far as I'm concerned. Some people still believe in, some people who don't want to go, they don't want to move out of Excel, they are used to Excel, they create their visualizations in Excel and they enjoy it, which is okay. But the world is changing. People now use Power BI, Tableau, Metabase, all those stuff. So yeah, that's it for tonight. Let me return this to the original thing right there. So yeah, I just like black and yellow. I did something related to this sometimes. My first visualization was like this. So in our next class, what we'll do is, so we are now done with the outline. We're done with everything here. Next is Power Query. So inside Power Query, with Power Query in our next lecture, we'll go to internet. I've not decided, maybe NCDC to get COVID-19 data set, or INEC website to get election results and filter. But definitely our next data set will not be business related. Remember in the first lecture, I was telling you that the difference between business analytics and data analytics is just the relationship of this data to either business or not. So this data we just did is more of a business analyst. Now all these things we did, a good business analyst will go ahead to calculate, there is gross profit, there is net profit, there is correlation between your sales and your profit, all those things, they can put it in their visualization. So it depends on your knowledge as a business person that makes you a business analyst. So anytime you are doing a business or your company's data that deals with profits or making better decision, you are a business analyst. But when we do something like the COVID-19, okay, which region is getting affected more, which region is, all those things, they are data analytics. So that's just the difference. So what we've done so far, this dashboard is business analytics. So when we go ahead to do maybe election results or COVID-19 or education, all those stuff, then that one is more of data analytics. So that's the difference. So definitely our next data set, the one we'll do, will not build dashboard. I'll just let you know how to use Power Query and the importance of Power Query, because it's very, very important. Now, what the Power Query will do is it will go to any website of your choice, it will retrieve the data When it retrieves the data, it will populate it on either Excel or Power BI. You can only access Power Query through Excel or Power BI. So if anything, if by for whatever reason the data in that website changes, so let's say NCDC updates, definitely they update their COVID-19 whatever every day. The same, your dashboard will change. So all you need to do is come to your dashboard one morning, connect it to the internet, just like we've done here, connect it to the internet and come to data, then we click refresh, and every figure will change based on what has been updated in the website. So that's the beauty of Power Query. So there are a lot of things we can do with Power Query, but then we'll start from there in our next lecture. So that's the end of the class, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed. So if there's any question, please. Oh, please, after all this designing, kindly show us how to lock this file to not allow anyone have access, change anything on it, or probably go through it. All right, I've actually not tried that, but I think this thing will work. Normally, I told you in the first lecture that from the view, yeah, review, yes, you can protect your workbook, you can protect sheets. Now, I told you the difference between a sheet and a workbook. This whole Excel file is a workbook. This particular sheet 3, let's call this one updated dashboard. So for instance, this particular one, updated dashboard, is just a sheet. This one is a sheet, and you can see sheet 1, sheet 2, and so on. So this updated dashboard is a sheet. So you can protect this sheet, I believe. I don't know if it will work for the, let's see. Anyway, so when you want to protect a worksheet, it will ask you for some questions. Do you want the person to select lock cell? When you check this, it means the person can select but cannot make changes. Do you want the person to select unlock cell? Now, before you go ahead to click protect worksheet, you can decide, because in some cases, for instance, let's go back to the pivot, the sales, for instance. Let's say this is sales, and you want your or someone to access the cost, this particular column, for whatever reason, but you don't want the person to access this one. So there's a way you unlock this one, you lock this one, then you now go to your protect worksheet. So when you protect worksheet, this one that you already locked, then the person will not be able to access it depending on how you set your preference. So how to lock is, let's say it's this place. You right click, you can select the entire column actually. You right click, you say format cells. So when you say format cells, you come to protection, then automatically it comes with lock. So it's already locked. So had it been we go to protect worksheet and select lock, we will not be able to access this depending on the preference. So if you want the person to access this place, you say okay, format cell, we now uncheck. So this is what we do. Now for our dashboard, what I don't know, because I've not tried it, what I don't know is when we select everything, we might not be able to access the filter. Normally when people come here, they want to access the filter and all those stuff. So when they cannot access the filter, I really don't know but let's try it. I've not tried it. So we are learning together now. So protect worksheet. So do you want the person to select log cell? Yes, we want the person to select log cell, because if we say no, it means the person will not be able to select anything on this worksheet at all. The person will only be scrolling like this, going left and right. He will not be able to select even this place. So that's what that one means. So protect worksheet. Let's allow the person to select log cell and even unlock cell, so it does not matter. Then you can now say if you want to put password, but for now there is no point. So let's click OK and see how it works. So now the person can select, Or can the person insert something? No, the person cannot insert anything anywhere. So let's see. Okay, it works. The person cannot move this thing, but also the filter. You see, that's the limitation of this protect worksheet. And I don't know any other way to do the protection. So I think I'll try to see to that in the next lecture. I'll tell you what I've known. So by the way, somebody used to ask, or whenever they ask, what was the greatest tool for a data analyst? I used to answer Google. Google is my greatest tool. Because whatever I don't know, when I'm building dashboard or when I'm doing work, if I don't repeat, sometimes I know this thing before, but I can't remember. I just go to Google, bam, type it, and so Google is my greatest tool. Not Power BI, not Excel, not SQL or Python. Anything you don't know, go to Google and YouTube and fast. So I'll try and Google this and see if there is a way to do something like this. But if it is unnecessary for the viewer to check your dashboard, then I think this one works. But now the person cannot interact with the dashboard, cannot do anything, unless maybe we move these to another way. But I'll check it out. Let's not waste time on it. I'll check it out and get back to you. What else? There's nothing else to say. I think that's all. You have questions? Let me check WhatsApp. Okay, no question. No questions. All right. I think that's the end of the lecture, guys. So if there's anything else to ask, you can always send message to the WhatsApp group. So good night, everyone.